Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Mike Coon, First Vice President and Portfolio Manager of Hanmi Bank. Thanks for joining me, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Jesse. Good to see you.
No, absolutely, man. It was great to see you. What'd I get you down? You weren't in Charlotte, right? But you were in Texas?
San Antonio, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Great conference.
I want to say it's probably, what was that, 24 months probably almost?
Since the last time easily. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was great to see everybody in person and see all of our friends in the industry. So yeah, that was a real treat. It's about time.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. About time. So, Mike, for those people who might not be familiar with you and equipment finance, do you mind just kind of talking about your career to date?
Sure. Yeah, I've been in this business for a good 30 years. Career sort of started at a local bank. I worked in an indirect group that was purchasing some leases from independent leasing companies, mostly in the state of Michigan here, and really enjoyed it, liked it, and sort of led to our group leaving the bank in the mid-90s and starting our own company. That company actually grew to a Monitor 100 company over the years, and so pretty successful. And I sold out of that company and sort of worked with some independents and a couple of banks developing a variety of different equipment finance programs, whether it was a one from scratch or developing a syndication platform. And then I got to a point where I was actually a customer of Hanmi Bank, and really had known these folks for years as just colleagues and friends in the industry. And so when a position eventually opened, I came over to Hanmi. It'll be just about 3 years now. And last year took the position of portfolio manager, which pretty much involves just about everything in our group, whether it's working with credit or servicing, and just kind of managing things from that perspective. And so it's a great team here. And so, yeah, long career in this industry for sure.
No, perfect. And then as far as Hanmi Bank goes, I mean, I've had the pleasure of knowing Kevin for a while, and
sure.
Over the last year, I've gotten to know Maggie pretty well. But
right.
You mind just kind of introducing, the equipment finance arm of Hanmi Bank?
Yeah, Hanmi Bank was established in 1982. It's an interesting bank because it was really developed to service the needs of Korean small businesses in the Los Angeles area, and we kind of closed the quarter at 6.7 billion in assets. So we're not a huge bank. The bank acquired the equipment finance group in about 2016 from another bank in California. And so, yeah, we're relatively small. I think we only have 16, 17, 18 employees generally. They're all located in Irvine. A few of us are working remotely around the country, but mostly what our group does is we fund portfolios of equipment finance loans and leases from independent finance companies, other banks, and some manufacturer captive type programs as well. And we generally do it on a flow basis. So these long-standing customers come to us almost monthly with a portfolio, and we adjudicate the credit, close the lease documents, and fund it. And we're really quite good at it. I think execution is really our forte and why we're valuable to our customers. But yeah.
That's great. So you guys are more now on a national footprint, I'm assuming.
Correct. Yeah. Everything we do on the equipment finance side is national. The bank has branched out into some key market areas around the U.S. as well, and then also at the same time servicing other groups of folks that have come into the country, and so it kind of depends on the market area, but we have bilingual folks at the branches and things that can take care of and service these groups of customers. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Great bank, great people.
Have you had a chance to go overseas yet, or did COVID kind of throw a wrench and all that?
No, and really, it's not to be confused with a Korean bank. We're a U.S. bank.
Okay.
We just service the needs of.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
That's fair. That's fair. I did not know.
But it's just really to serve the needs of Korean immigrants that have come to the U.S. and to help them get their businesses going and service them and be able to to communicate with them productively. So.
And you have offices all over the place. I just know that I know Maggie's in Southern California. Kevin's here in Arizona with me,
Right.
And you're in Michigan.
Correct.
So
yeah, most of the group, from a fulfillment standpoint, is in that Irvine office.
Okay.
Like you said, Kevin is remote. I'm remote, but Maggie runs that office there in Irvine for us and does a great job.
No, that's fantastic. And like I said, I've gotten to know her well over the last, I want to say 6 to 9 months, and she's a great asset.
Sure
Yeah, so I mean, I think when I first met you, you were with Enterprise. Does that sound
correct? Yeah,
right?
yep. That was the company that we started in 1996. That goes back a
So
long time. I've known you a long time, buddy.
That was, well, I mean, I got in 2005, but still,
Yep.
I know this was you and Lee Martin. I remember him. He was a really unique cat.
He was fabulous. Yeah. He really was instrumental in growing that company. We were just a small regional company and mostly operating in the state of Michigan. And I had raised some capital back at that time, and I was introduced to Lee and brought him on. So yeah, he was very instrumental in developing a nationwide footprint for that company.
And then, so what was it like, Mike, going from kind of, because you guys were independent at that time, right? What have you seen in the shift, or what are the advantages and I guess kind of disadvantages from being an independent compared to an actual bank?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting. Back then, it wasn't easy to get the kind of funding that's available to independents today. And we were a young company, and so we had to negotiate some pretty tough deals in the early days. And as we grew and our portfolio had really performed well, the cost of funds had dropped, and today it's extremely competitive. There's a lot of money being thrown at the independents, and so I think it's a good time to be an independent finance company with a strong platform and understanding your customer base and how to deliver service. That's the key, I think, today.
No, that makes complete. It always has been. It's just, when I talk to people that have left like banks to go start their own independent, it's like, well, we always provided great service, but when you get to like 200 basis points difference, it's like,
that's right.
You have to earn it. Is your service really that great?
Well, yeah, and service is different today with the technology platforms that are out there and the delivery of the product. It takes a strong investment to really maintain and be valuable to your vendors and customers. It's very easy in this commodity business to be a Me Too company. And so you really have to carve out that little niche and say, this is what we do, and we're focused on it, and don't be distracted.
And as soon as people figure that recipe out, sooner than later,
that's right.
And not get the inkling where it's like, well, I mean, if we did this good, what if we try that? And it's like, no,
right.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, keep it simple and be really, really good at what you do, and you become dependable and a very important partner to your customers. I think that's what Hanmi's, we've got money and we've got good rates and we're competitive, but I think it's that dependability and that ability to execute and to come through every time is really what makes us special. And I know that more from being a customer, is how valuable that really, really was. When you're doing pretty large syndication volume, it's critical to have a partner that executes consistently.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Do you guys do a lot of broker deals or just direct? Because I know Kevin's on the sales side, right?
Correct. Yep. We have no direct business, and really don't see many referrals even from the bank side. So everything is really from a wholesale platform. Most of it is purchasing portfolios. We don't really have too many actual brokers. We have some discounters that will do one-off transactions. That's 25 to 30% of our overall volume. It's valuable and it's important, but really the flow-based portfolios are really where we shine.
Gotcha. And then, so what got you in equipment finance? I always ask this question because people are like, you don't go to school for it.
Yeah, well, it's what I always wanted to be when I was a little boy. Some guys wanted to be firemen, baseball players.
Right.
I wanted to be an equipment finance guy. Yeah. I started, as I said, at a local community bank, and we were buying some paper, and it was something that I learned to do that not everyone else knew how to do. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just was given these deals, and I was approving them like I would a consumer loan probably. Um, but it's a fast-paced business. You really get to see a lot of parts of banking and lending. In my career, I've kind of touched it all. I've been in credit, I've been in servicing, had to do collection work, sales, marketing, executive management, and so I think that if you like a fast-paced, you know, business that takes some ingenuity and some guts, I've always enjoyed it. There's at this at my age, there's nothing else I can really do anyway. But yeah, I just like the pace of it, and and in this industry, or in servicing the industries that we do, they're really part of the economic growth and success of our country. Really, when you think about lending money to a small construction company or a machine tool shop or whatever it might be, transportation industry, you're really providing the capital for these companies to thrive and to grow, and that's good for our country. So I've always been proud of the industry that I've been able to be involved with.
Well, that, and I was going to go on to our next topic, which was the trade associations and
Mhm.
what they mean to you. And I think in general, they suck you in even more,
Yeah,
because then it becomes like an equipment finance family. And it's
that's
like,
right.
I'm never going to leave. I don't want to
It is really a family, and the folks that I've been able to meet, and like yourself, Jesse, you're a great example that over the years they do feel like family and great friends, as well as they do colleagues. But yes, the associations are something that I started probably 20 some years ago, and I'm a past president of the NEFA, National Equipment Finance Association. Kind of grew up through the board, and eventually became our president. I'm on the small ticket business steering committee for the ELFA currently, and so I've always remained active. It helps me as a individual working in this industry to learn and grow. Helps my business. It helps others, even our competitors. We sit around the table and learn about each other's businesses and discuss best practices and benchmarking, and it's an industry that's pretty forthcoming. I mean, people talk about your fiercest competitor might have a very open discussion with the group, and I've always enjoyed that.
and and thank you guys for sponsoring our event 2 weeks ago in California. But that was at Regions Capital's office, and they had some of their major local competitors there.
Sure.
And it was kind of funny though, because there's certain things they do, and they're just like, Don introduced me. It's just, if you touch my salespeople, we might have an issue, but other than that, just kind of walk around, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Well, he has a beautiful office, so yeah, for sure, it'd be a great place to hold a meeting.
But no, I mean, I agree. I mean, I want to say in 2005, I probably met you at the TNEC EAEL conference, and it's just, they kind of suck you in, and people, like you said, I mean, you can sit down next to your biggest competitor. I mean, in the software space, you see how aggressive they can be towards one another, but majority of times you sit down and you can have a conversation, because
that's right.
At the end of the day, there's enough for everyone as long as things are done correctly.
Right. Well, and you want the industry to survive. You just hate to see companies fail or fall out, or banks that lose interest in their equipment finance group. It's never good. You want a good, healthy environment and folks to do well. So that's always been my opinion.
I agree 100%. And like I always ask people here, like, you went through the board, became the president, so you volunteered your time, you put in the extra time. And so I guess one of the recurring themes is you get in, you get out what you put in.
That's right. Yeah. You have to be involved, and I think that's a critical part of it is to be engaged.
And then, so for a lot of younger people are watching this series because they want to learn more about equipment finance professionals like yourself. What advice, Mike, would you give to someone who's just getting into the industry?
Yeah, good question. I think, looking back at my career and what's helped me, and particularly in the position I'm at now, which touches everything, in our industry or our business, is learn as much as you can. Learn credit, learn how to adjudicate credit and do it properly. Learn how to read a financial statement, learn how to develop business, learn a marketing plan, learn operations, learn collections and servicing. Even if you get to spend just a little bit of time, I think if you work for a large enough organization, you can spend some time in credit, spend some time in collections, spend some time in operations, and then really discover where, the interest points that really suit you. But no matter what you do, if you become, say, you go into the sales part of it, your ability to understand credit, to speak to your credit people with authority and knowledge, only is going to help you. And so, yeah, I think that's critical to learn all the aspects of the industry and stick with it. Don't job hop. Just make a commitment. If it's something you're interested in, you may find that you move from company to company a little bit. Sometimes that happens even when you don't want it to, but stay with the industry. I think there's compensation that's pretty attractive in this industry, and the friends you meet, and just the type of people that work in this business. It's hard to find someone that you don't really hit it off with in this industry, as I found it.
No, and that's a good point. And I think if young people ask their employer, where it's like, okay, I've done credit, let me go do docs, or let's go work on the back end side of things. I think the majority of these organizations would appreciate that, because you're more well-rounded and you can pivot on the fly.
Absolutely.
So that's a great point. So something fun here. I ask everyone who comes on here a little fun fact about themselves. I think I know what you're going to say, just based on what I know about you. But by all means, do you mind just kind of sharing something fun, Mike?
You're probably referring to that band that I play in. I I've been a musician, a guitar player, since I was 5 years old. So, that goes back a long time. And I don't know, I guess about 7 or 8 years ago, I kind of thought about getting back into the performance side of things. I have a recording studio here at my home, but I really wanted to put something together, and something that was really, really neat. And so we put together about 10 really, really good musicians here locally in West Michigan, and a horn section, and we do classic R&B and soul music, kind of through the 60s and early 70s, and we're all dressed up in matching suits, so it kind of is reminiscent of those great soul bands in the 60s. So we have a lot of fun. We play some pretty neat venues around here, and it's really not so much of a bar band as we play live music venues and a lot of outdoor concerts in the summertime. So it's a great distraction from this industry, and allows me to do something I've pretty much done all my life. So yeah, it's been fun.
What's the name of the band?
The Soul Syndicate. There's a Facebook page if you're on Facebook. The Soul Syndicate.
I don't think I've followed you, obviously, but I don't think I followed that. So I'll have to look that up now. Are you guys in direct competition with M-Bomb? I'm just trying to think of at the ELFA. What's the name of the band that they got?
That would be fun to be involved in. Ralph and I talked about that a little bit last time at the closing reception, but that's Chris M-Bomb and I've actually jumped on stage a couple of times at conferences and played together, and it's one of those things that him and I've always had in common. We always chat about when we do see each other, and what's going on with you, and who are you playing with these days. And so he's a good bass player.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's bass and you're guitar, right?
Yep, correct. Yep.
All right. Well, I guess kind of in closing here, Mike, of all the different, banks out there to do business with in equipment finance, why Hanmi?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we've been able to develop these relationships with a small group of really great partners and customers. And I think that it kind of really goes back to being consistent and show that you care. You know, if you really, one of the, maybe when kind of back to the point about, what sort of advice is, when you care about your customers, you care about your employees, you care about your vendors and the company that you work for. And that's demonstrated through action. People can actually see that. You do what you say you're going to do and do it on time. And that's really the culture that we seem to sort of share, no matter who it is in the organization. So we execute, we're dependable, we have fun, people are in a good mood, and so it's good to work with our little group. We're very friendly and warm, and so we've done a great job of retaining our customers, and we'll be adding more in 2022. Kevin and I have talked about it and kind of some of the products and things that we want to roll out. So yeah, it's a great group to work with, and luckily we don't compete on price. We have competitive rates like everybody, but I'm happy and feel fortunate that we've got more to talk about than being a commodity low cost provider. So that's great.
That's fantastic. And I'm assuming it's that time of year. I think you mentioned before we started recording that there's snow on the ground. So if you and Kevin want to have a strategic planning session here in Arizona, you are more than welcome.
It has to happen, man. I got to get out of here.
You got a nice place to stay here. So
wonderful. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. But
we'll do that.
Well, Mike, it was thank you for your time today. Like I said, it was great seeing you last month in Texas.
Likewise.
Look forward to continuing to watch Hanmi in the industry, and appreciate your friendship, sir. And look forward to talking with you soon.
Likewise. Happy holidays.
All right.
And your viewers. Thanks.
All right, bye.